eating chocolate and knocking over cedar. Okay, so today I did a collective oracle reading. I've never done anything like this before. I just felt compelled is not the right word, led to do that. Just I have no idea why, but there we go. I don't ask questions. I used my Startcodes Astro Oracle deck. I just got this a couple weeks ago, and I've been really interested in how it's turned out. I got it as like a study guide because I'm trying to get into astrology, and I'm using it as a study tool, a way of just like really learning these concepts in a more concrete way. But it's actually been a really interesting oracle deck. Anytime I've pulled cards for it, it's been like spot on. Anyways, decided to do that. So I did the spread that is in the guidebook. It's called the astrological sentence. So you pull one card from each category, and it's supposed to construct a sentence. This has just, well, let's just get into it. Okay, so this is the collective reading for the week of April the 24th through the 30th. So just this last week of April. So there are 4 categories. There's the lens. So the lens you're looking through. The character. So who is actually doing this, what this is about. The location, so where we're looking at this energy being at, and then the patterns that we're looking at. So it was really interesting. The lens was Cancer. And as you can see, it says immense. So the lens that we're talking about here, this message is through nurturing our inner emotions. All right, so the lens we're talking about, the energy that we're really diving into this week is inside, deep emotions, things that help us feel secure and loved and safe. Those ideas are what we're talking about. Now, the character is Mercury, and it's of course messages, because Mercury being the god or the messenger of the gods, right? And when we talk about Mercury, the planet in astrology, we're talking about communication, messages, thoughts, those ideas. And it's really interesting that Mercury just went retrograde at the end of last week. So clearly not a coincidence that we're looking at internal reflection when it comes to communication, messages that we're getting, the messages that we're sending out to the world. So makes sense. The location that this is happening at is the 8th house. And it says mystery because the 8th house is where it's all the stuff that we want to keep hidden, that we do keep hidden from the rest of the world. When we're talking about the houses in the upper hemisphere, it's the way in which we communicate or interact with others. The 8th house really is about inside of us, but the way we are looking in at the outside, if that makes sense. Like the resources that we're getting from other people, the way we interact with other people and how that really deep down affects us, kind of thing. And then the patterns that we're dealing with here is squares, semi-squares, quincunx, that one word that I never heard before until I got this deck. So all of these things really are very, very interesting when you start to put them together. So we have little things like Mercury retrograde last week. The moon, I need to check. Excuse me, the moon is either in Cancer right now or will be tomorrow. So we've pulled the Cancer card as that lens that we're looking at this message through. We're talking about the internal ocean of emotions and how we feel safe and how we nurture ourselves and those ideas. So the things that were coming up is that with Mercury, again, being retrograde. So retrograde time is really about reflection and review and slowing down so you can really think about how your communication's happening. Something that came out of the Astro Oracle deck was remember, review, and reconnect. Just in general, talking about Mercury, we really want to review the way we're communicating, review the way we're thinking to ourselves. Remember, again, go back to Cancer, think about our childhood, remembering back to our childhood and the way we used to talk to ourselves and the way we used to communicate with others and the way we would communicate nurturing to ourselves. So these are really important. All of this is talking to me about shadow work. I'm going to say that a lot because I think, first of all, you can never be finished with shadow work. You're always working on these things. And that's just a way to get to know yourself. But thinking about nurturing inside, we can't nurture ourselves unless we know ourselves. And the only way we can really know what we need is through shadow work. Mercury retrograde, we need to go through that shadow work and think about communication, think about our mind and how we are communicating to ourselves. Our thought patterns are so important. Whether you're into like metaphysical stuff or just general psychology, the way we speak to ourselves, the way we allow these thought patterns to happen for ourselves is really important. Talking about the 8th house being mystery, again, shadow work. Something that came out of the booklet for the Oracle deck was, for one, is the things that we keep private. Again, much like our Cancer crab that we were talking about, that Cancer crab will keep hidden inside its shell if it doesn't feel safe. These are the ideas we're talking about. It says, the booklet said to work on healing dysfunctional dynamics in your relationships with others, shadow work. And to build strength for the 8th house, work through the 2nd house, because the 2nd and 8th house are tied together. They're both about resources, but the 2nd house is about internal, like your self-worth, your resources you are bringing in, whereas the 8th house is about the resources you get from others and how you play that out in your life. We just entered Taurus season. Who rules the 2nd house? Again, these are not coincidences that they're coming up right now. Like, we just entered Taurus, and right after that, Mercury retrograde, we just did some eclipses. Like, there's a lot of energy that's just saying, hey, it's time to reflect. It's time to go inside and think about how things are working out right now for you, specifically with the way you're thinking about yourself. So really start working on building up your self-worth. I know I personally struggle with that. My 2nd house doesn't have a lot of personal planets, and so I struggled personally with building up that self-worth. And that's something that I really have to work on, that I'm doing through shadow work. But then the patterns are trying to break free of, so if you know anything about astrology, squares, the semi-squares, that's about tension. It's tense. There's conflict. But these are never bad, because we can't grow unless we work work through tension. One way for our brain to tell us that we're actually learning something is because it's going to feel hard. It's going to feel like a lot of work. And that's when we know that our brain is actually learning something new. So, it's difficult. It's not fun. Tension's never fun. When you're struggling to learn a concept, it's not fun, but you grow so much through those processes. So this collective reading is we all need to slow down and really think about what helps us nurture ourselves so we feel safe and secure through reflecting on the way our mind is functioning and really diving into shadow work in the 8th house, how we're interacting with others and how we're building our own self-worth. And it's going to be tense. It's going to cause tension, but that is so we can learn and grow from where we've started. So that's really telling me not only is that the message of this week, but I really feel like the message right now for the next several weeks, maybe even through the entire Mercury retrograde, we should really just be reflecting on how we nurture ourselves, what that looks like for us to feel safe through shadow work, through our relationships with others, and slowly working through that tension. So I really hope that you got something from this. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions, and let me know if you like it or not, because then I might do some more of these. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Well, that's it for today. So until next time, I hope you're staying inspired.